Welcome to another comedy podcast. It's gonna be a bit of a longer one. We're gonna talk about reboots and reboot stuff. I have never been a big fan of remastering stuff. Has hit my reboots, has hit my standards. We're gonna talk about an entire 10 minutes about the Disney reboots because I'm a big fan of the Disney reboots. Been a really big fan of them. No, not reboot. Big fan of the original stuff and everything. Well, the original stuff was brilliant. I loved the original. I was a child. So Disney's as I was and my childhood was all about Disney stuff. Beauty and the Beast. Robin Hood, the old animated childish one. That was in my childhood, and that was loads of fun. And Disney Princess, I'm not a good fan now, but some of the old stuff was my childhood. I sat for a long time with, and when they got rebooted, some of it just didn't go well for me. Mulan reboot, it just doesn't make sense how it was supposed to go. She had the ability of power. It's supposed to be a woman that can do everything the man that can do. It didn't make sense. A lot of the reboots just didn't click to me, and a lot of people, reboots are not the greatest. They're not fun and not exciting. Everything say Disney reboots are just not that good. Still rebooting things now, but rebooting things not the thing to go. What the person that created Disney those years ago, man himself, created it to do what Disney had. The rebooting his stuff is KSS, but it was just never that good. Disney stuff hasn't been that good since, to me. I think the reboot stuff for Disney hasn't been the greatest thing with anything Disney princesses, Disney Mulan, Disney Jungle Book. I loved the Jungle Book when I was younger with a kid. I think a lot of the stuff with Disney stuff is the reboots have just never been that good. And I wasn't satisfied with they're not in my standards when I know Disney stuff was my childhood and I used to sit and watch it. I've never was happy with how the reboots went. So I wasn't really satisfied with how it went. A lot of the Disney stuff did not end well, and it wasn't. I think it ended well for a couple of people. For somebody that has watched what childhood was Disney reboots, Disney stuff, it kind of just ruins what I used to like. I used to have Beyond VHS, and that was old fashioned. I was that young that VHS was around because of my family, and I used to love VHS and sit and stuff. But reboots just not been that good thing. I think a lot of the stuff has not been a big fan of. I didn't agree with people doing a reboot of stuff. I was never a big fan of it. Disney stuff wasn't that great to talk about it. Go straight into, I don't know, movies. Same thing. It didn't need to be a reboot. It just did not need to be a reboot, and a lot of the film was still basically the same, but it didn't need a reboot. For me, the reboot for that is Disney didn't do as well as it used to. Mulan, movies just never ended right well for me. I thought it was gonna be something new. My family guys, I was just not a big fan of it because it was a VHS thing that I used to watch, and it wasn't that great. Mulan it just didn't feel what it was supposed to be about, and how the proper story of the books and the history wasn't putting it correctly. Sadly, that it ruined a lot of people's childhood because of things. Sadly, I'm gonna have to say I didn't really enjoy that film. Sadly. Actually saying sadly that it didn't end well. kind of go for other films, for Marvel. For a lot of it, the rebooted Fantastic Four movie, that just did not end well for multiple people. And I wouldn't say I wasn't that satisfied with it and everything. As much as people were I was quite excited for a reboot Fantastic Four. I'm quite excited for when Marvel does it. MCU, Saturn Kevin Feige does it. But the reboot we got was just felt nothing new. Felt new, but it just wasn't the same for me. Exactly, they did a different way to do the Fantastic Four, but it just didn't do well as I thought it was gonna do. Yeah, just never did well. So I like reboots of other projects like the Batman Begins. Is still my favorite Batman film, but to the new Batman, the new 2022 Batman, it was just 3 hours long. The film action was great. Everything was great about the movie, but the runtime was a bit too long. The runtime was a bit too long for me, and I didn't like the idea. Couldn't remember all the lines because it was a 3 hour movie. 1 minute about it, 3 hour movie. It's just too long to watch. And things, but not just a solo Batman film. Batman's never done 3 hours. What's the point doing Batman as a 3 hour movie? If it would just there was just nothing. It was just mysterious, and there wasn't enough Bruce Wayne for the film. I still say Dark Knight. The Dark Knight trilogy has been the best, and I'm not very excited for the sequels coming. So I wasn't really happy with that one. Multiple reboot just didn't click, didn't go well. Other fans, mainly Disney things and Marvel, all reboots just don't end well because things don't need a reboot, and that's the point that I'm saying. It just did not end well to multiple reboots, multiple things, and yeah, that's what I felt about the reboot. Reboots just never been the best. No. Reboots when they didn't need reboot at Disney still, some at home just didn't go well. That's the point of this video, is the series did not do well. The series just did not well. And it wasn't that good for a movie. It's like people load 3 hour movies, but I can game and then finish it almost 3 hour and game with a 3 hour movie, but that did well. It was a big movie. It was not Batman with a really low movie. Reboots have just never been that good. A lot of things were just not going well for me for the reboot of Batman. And I love Batman. I have enjoyed Batman since I was young, and it wasn't. Rebooting it just did not end well, and it didn't go well for us. Well, for me, I just didn't enjoy it. And if you like it, fine. I don't have my choice what you guys like. And yeah, that's my review on the reboot stuff. This is what the Comic Podcast episode 4 is going to be about, is reboot stuff. Reboot stuff is just never ended right well for me, and a review on it reboots, and they're just not half of them weren't the most. A lot of them just didn't need reboots. It's like a half conversation. What's the view of the reboots? Well, half of them are good, half of them are bad. It's just the couple of years haven't been the greatest. So yeah, so this is gonna be the last thing about the Comic Podcast. Thank you for the podcast, and thank you for joining these podcasts. And sorry about the delay. I've just been wanting at least 2 days, but some of them trying to find content to do instead of reviews. I want to do reviews doing else except viewing the Marvel stuff. So see you guys in the next Comic Podcast. This will be out 19th. 19. So, wait, it died in 19, and they'll be on the 21st is next one. Bye.